My mother-in-law tainted my meal to prove my life-threatening allergy was fake. My final shred of patience died right there. What if the person who swore to love and support your family tried to poison you? Not once, but for years, convinced your life-threatening allergy was all in your head. I almost died, and it wasn't an accident. It was my husband's mother. My entire life, I've been severely allergic to shellfish. The kind where my throat clamps shut, and if I don't get an EpiPen in minutes, it's game over. It's terrifying, it's life-altering, and it's always been my reality. When I met James, my now husband, I told him everything on our second date. Restaurants were a minefield, and he needed to understand why I was basically interrogating every waiter. He was amazing, truly. He'd double-check menus, always had backup EpiPens, and made sure every restaurant knew. But then there was Linda, James's mother. The moment he told her about my allergy, she just rolled her eyes. Young people nowadays, she'd sneer, always claiming allergies for attention. She swore in her day nobody had allergies and everyone was just fine. I showed her my medical alert bracelet, the prescription papers, even offered for my allergist to call her. She waved it all away, convinced doctors just diagnosed anything for money. The first few family dinners were a nightmare. Linda would whip up these elaborate seafood dishes, then act utterly offended when I couldn't eat them. She'd say she forgot about my fake allergy and dramatically sigh while making something else. James would bring safe food for me, but Linda would declare it an insult to bring outside food to her table. It escalated fast. She started telling anyone who'd listen that I was using my allergies to control James, to make myself special, to get attention at every meal. She'd call me picky, ruining family dinners. Then she started testing me. She'd swear something was safe. Then, after I'd taken a bite, casually mention there might have been shrimp paste in the sauce. But since you didn't react, she'd chirp, you must be cured. My heart would pound out of my chest. I'd panic, pop a Benadryl, and monitor myself for symptoms while she'd just laugh, calling me dramatic. James would get furious, but Linda would dissolve into tears, claiming she was just trying to help me get over my mental block about seafood. She started hiding it, tiny amounts at first. Ground up dried shrimp in seasonings, oyster sauce in vegetable dishes, fish sauce in marinades. Each time, my throat would get that familiar itch, my lips would tingle. Another Benadryl. Linda would insist it was psychosomatic. If you really had an allergy, you'd be in the hospital. She didn't understand that these tiny amounts were just below my threshold for full anaphylaxis, but still causing reactions. James caught her once, adding something to my plate. She just smiled. Just extra seasoning, dear. We stopped going to her house for dinner, but then she'd bring food to our place, always swearing she'd made it specially for me. I stopped eating anything she made. She told the whole family I was refusing her food to be spiteful. The breaking point came at James's birthday dinner at a restaurant. Linda insisted on ordering for everyone, claiming she knew the menu best. She ordered me a pasta dish, swearing it was completely safe. The waiter confirmed no shellfish. I was hungry, exhausted from the constant fighting, so I ate it. Within minutes, my throat began to close. James stabbed me with the EpiPen while simultaneously dialing 911. The world blurred. At the hospital, the doctor's words chilled me to the bone. I'd ingested concentrated shellfish extract. Enough to kill someone with my level of allergy if James hadn't acted so fast. Linda arrived, playing the concerned mother-in-law role, but a sharp nurse was suspicious. How, she asked, did shellfish extract end up in a supposedly safe dish? Linda sputtered about the restaurant making a mistake, but the restaurant manager was already there, terrified of a lawsuit with security footage in hand. The video. Oh God, the video. It showed Linda at our table, alone for a few minutes, while James and I were in the bathroom. She pulled a small bottle from her purse, poured liquid into my food, stirred it, put the bottle back, just sat there, waiting for us to return. The police were called. Linda tried to claim it was just fish sauce for flavor, that she didn't know it would hurt me. The officer asked why she'd bring fish sauce to a restaurant. She said she always carried her own seasonings. Then Officer Lorraine Boyd reached into Linda's purse. She pulled out 3 small bottles, medical labels, precise measurements. Her face hardened. Concentrated shellfish extract. Pharmaceutical grade. The kind they use in allergy testing labs. Linda started backing away, but Officer Boyd kept digging. A spiral notebook with a blue cover. Officer Boyd flipped through the pages, her expression growing colder. Dates going back 2 years. Each entry, my reactions to food Linda had given me. Tiny amount in sauce. Subject showed mild reaction, proving psychological component. Increased dose in marinade. Subject took antihistine, but no hospital visit, confirming mental block theory. 20 entries, documenting how she'd been systematically poisoning me, all to prove I was faking. The officer looked up at Linda with pure disgust. Linda's face crumpled, tears streaming. She mumbled something about helping me overcome my mental block, about exposure therapy she'd read about online. Officer Boyd cut her off. This isn't a phobia. This is a documented medical condition. What you did constitutes attempted murder. Linda gasped as if slapped. Officer Boyd pulled out handcuffs. I watched from my hospital doorway as they walked Linda down the hallway, her sobbing echoing. Her face twisted as she kept turning back, yelling, "I'm misunderstood!" James stood beside me, his arm around my waist. I could feel him shaking. He came back into my room after they took her away. He just sat there, holding my hand, his own hands cold and trembling. His face looked like it had collapsed, his eyes red and wet. He kept saying he should have protected me better, that he should have cut her off years ago. My throat felt raw, my body ached, but I squeezed his hand. "This isn't your fault, James. She's an adult. She made her own choices." He shook his head, broken. "I knew she was testing you, and I didn't do enough." I reminded him we stopped going to her house, stopped eating her food. "It wasn't enough," he whispered. "She still found a way to hurt you." I just held his hand while he cried. The doctor came in later that night. She sat on the edge of my bed. That concentrated dose could have killed me in minutes. If James hadn't used the EpiPen immediately, I wouldn't have made it. My stomach dropped. She kept talking. Repeated small doses over 2 years could actually worsen allergies. I might have increased sensitivity now. I might need 2 EpiPens instead of 1. I wanted to scream. Linda had literally made my condition worse. My medical condition worse. The next morning, my sister, Catalina, burst in. She'd driven 4 hours overnight. She took one look at me, for still in my arm, and started crying. Then she got angry, red-faced, pacing. "I never trusted Linda," she fumed. "Why didn't you tell me how bad the testing got?" I felt embarrassed, admitting I was trying to keep the peace for James's sake. Catalina stopped, stared. "That sounds really stupid now that you almost died." She was right. I'd let Linda abuse me for 2 years. "From now on," she said, "you tell me everything. I don't care about keeping peace with people who try to kill you." I promised I would. 3 days later, the district attorney, Blake McCarthy, called. He wanted to discuss charges. James and I met him. Blake, younger than I expected, laid out the evidence, the notebook, the bottles, photos from the security footage. Attempted murder. Assault with a deadly weapon. "The notebook shows clear planning," he said. "The pharmaceutical-grade extract shows intent to harm." He was confident about a conviction. James asked how long Linda could go to prison. 15 to 20 years. It should have felt good. I just felt tired. I wanted to feel safe eating again. A week later, James's phone rang. It was his father, Kenji. He wanted to meet. Kenji looked like he'd aged 10 years. Gray-faced, deep circles under his eyes. He said he had no idea Linda was doing this. "When I wasn't around," he explained, "she'd dismiss your allergy. But when she acted concerned. He'd been lied to for years. His hands shook as he stirred his coffee. Then he said he was filing for divorce. I can't stay married to someone who tried to kill my daughter-in-law. He wanted to testify against her. James's face crumpled. His heart was breaking, even though he understood. Kenji squeezed James's hand. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. 2 days later, my phone rang from an unknown number. It was Linda's sister, screaming before I could even say hello. You're tearing the family apart. Linda would never hurt anyone. You must have provoked this. She called me dramatic for making such a big deal about a little seafood. I tried to explain about the extract, the notebook. She talked right over me. Families forgive each other. You're being vindictive. I hung up. My hands shook. James was angry, but the call had already shaken me. There were people in Linda's family who would always take her side. I was the villain, and nothing would change their minds. Blake called us back. Forensic analysis of the shellfish extract. Medical grade, concentrated allergen. Hundreds of dollars per bottle. Ordered from specialty suppliers. Linda had to actively search for it. Pay for expedited shipping. Sign forms. This wasn't a mistake. This was a planned attack. This wasn't a confused old woman. This was someone who planned to hurt me. I tried to go back to normal life, but everything felt wrong. I'd make lunch, then stare at it for 20 minutes, heart racing, hands shaking. I couldn't eat anything I hadn't prepared myself from scratch. Even then, panic. James would order takeout and I'd refuse. I lost 8 pounds in 2 weeks. James called my doctor, who recommended a trauma therapist, Summer. Summer had a calm voice. She said I was experiencing a normal trauma response. My brain was trying to protect me. She taught me breathing exercises, explained that my hypervigilance made sense, but we couldn't let it control my life. Homework. 1 meal prepared by James each week. We'd work up slowly to restaurants. It helped to know I wasn't losing my mind. James spent 3 days calling every family member he could think of. His cousin remembered a dinner 2 years ago, a safe sauce for tomato sensitivity. Hives, swollen face. Linda claimed the label was wrong. Cousin found the empty can. Tomatoes clearly listed. James's uncle told him about his girlfriend's severe dairy allergy. Emergency room after Linda's special dessert. Linda cried about forgetting cream cheese. Uncle found the empty container hidden under other trash. James made a list. 7 different people over 5 years. Everyone had an allergy or sensitivity Linda deemed fake. Everyone ended up sick after her food. Some mild, some hospitalized. I was just the one with enough proof to nail her. The preliminary hearing. The courthouse smelled like cleaner and old paper. I sat in the witness chair. Linda sat at the defense table, a sweet blue dress, looking like somebody's grandma. Her lawyer smiled. Do you have a history of being dramatic? Have you ever exaggerated symptoms for attention? Blake objected. The judge agreed. Any reason to be vindictive? She tried to poison me for 2 years. That sounds extreme. She literally poisoned me with concentrated shellfish extract. Blake presented my medical records. 3 hospitalizations since age 6. My throat closing, blood pressure dropping EpiPens. All matching what happened at James's birthday. The defense lawyer argued Linda was a confused older woman, thought she was helping me overcome a mental block, never intended real harm. Blake waited until he was done, then asked to play a video. The restaurant security footage. Me and James leaving for the bathroom. Linda alone at the table, looking around twice. Pulling the bottle. Pouring it into my pasta. Stirring. Putting the bottle away. Looking around again. Waiting. The judge watched it all. Silence. Then he said the video showed clear premeditation. Linda knew exactly what she was doing. She represents a danger to other people. He ordered Linda held without bail. She started crying. "It's not fair." Her lawyer argued, but the judge was done. The bailiff took her away. James and I started couples therapy 2 weeks later. He kept saying he should have protected me better. I wanted to comfort him, but I was also angry. I almost died. I couldn't eat without panicking. Yet, half our sessions were spent making him feel better about his guilt. Summer stopped us. "You are both victims of Linda's abuse, but in different ways." James's guilt was real, but it couldn't be my job to manage his feelings while I was surviving my own trauma. He learned to process his guilt in individual therapy. I learned to ask for support. It helped slowly. Blake called us back. The forensic psychologist's report on Linda. Narcissistic personality disorder. She genuinely believed she was helping people overcome fake limitations. She couldn't comprehend that other people's medical conditions were real because she hadn't experienced them herself. Her need to be right overrode any empathy. She would never accept responsibility. She would always believe she was the victim. "She's dangerous," Blake warned. "Even with treatment, she'll probably never change." More family members stopped talking to Linda. Kenji filed for divorce. 2 cousins reached out, supportive. But James's aunt sent me a letter. 3 cramped pages. "Drop the charges. Prison will kill Linda. Family forgives. You're being cruel. She made a mistake, but doesn't deserve to have her life ruined. You're tearing the family apart." I read it twice, handshaking. I showed it to Blake. He read it carefully. "Witness tampering," he said, making a copy for the evidence file. 2 weeks later, Blake called. Plea deal. Linda would plead guilty to aggravated assault instead of attempted murder. 5 to 8 years. Mandatory psychiatric treatment. It would save us from a long trial, a guaranteed sentence. But we had the right to reject it. If we won a trial, she could get 15 to 20 years. If we lost, nothing. James and I talked for hours. I was exhausted. I wanted it over. But I also wanted her to face the full consequences. She tried to murder me. We rejected the plea deal. The victim impact session. Blake said other people Linda had hurt wanted to meet me. 2 women. 1, severe peanut allergy. Linda put peanut butter in a sauce 3 years ago. Anaphylaxis. The other, celiac disease. Linda's gluten-free Christmas dish 2 years ago. Violently sick. Both thought it was bad luck, an honest mistake. Now they knew. Linda had targeted them. On purpose. We talked for 2 hours, sharing our stories, crying together. Linda wasn't just someone who made bad choices. She was a serial abuser who enjoyed proving people wrong. She got satisfaction from making people sick and then acting like they were overreacting. They agreed to testify. Blake said multiple victims would make the case much stronger. A pattern. Juries would see she wasn't confused. She knew exactly what she was doing. We were absolutely sure. We wanted attempted murder. The trial started on a Monday in October. 2 weeks of testimony. My doctor, the restaurant manager, the forensic specialist, each of the other victims. I testified for 6 hours. Linda's lawyer tried everything. Confused grandmother, mentally ill, no real harm intended. But Blake had the notebook, the expensive shellfish extract, the security footage, the pattern of behavior with multiple victims, my medical records. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, the foreman stood, guilty of attempted murder. The judge read the sentence. 15 years, parole possible after 10. Mandatory psychiatric treatment. He looked at Linda, his voice hard. Your complete lack of remorse makes you dangerous to others. Linda jumped up, screaming across the courtroom, This is my fault! You destroyed the family. The bailiff grabbed her arm, but she kept yelling as they pulled her away. I sat there, watching her face twist with anger, and something inside me finally let go. I'd been carrying so much guilt about pressing charges, about James, about breaking up his family. but hearing her blame me one last time, it showed she still didn't get it. She still thought she was the victim. James squeezed my hand and we walked out. We found a new apartment across town, away from all of it. A fresh start. Kenji helped us move. Even checked every ingredient in our new kitchen. The family split down the middle. Some understood, kept in touch. Others thought we were cruel. James's aunt stopped speaking to us entirely. We learned to be okay with the division. I found a support group. 8 people in a circle, talking about family members who hurt them. A woman whose father was in prison. A man whose brother stole everything. They understood the weird grief of losing someone who was still alive. They understood why I felt sad about Linda being in prison, even knowing she needed to be there. Summer, and I kept working on the food anxiety. I started calling restaurants ahead, talking directly to chefs. I ate out 3 times in 1 month without panicking. James and I learned to talk about hard things. We fought, but we worked through it. 1 year after the poisoning, I woke up and felt good. Really good. I'd started a blog about navigating severe allergies, about people who dismiss them. Hundreds of comments. People thanking me for helping them advocate for themselves. James and I talked about starting a family over breakfast. I felt confident I could teach kids to set boundaries, to protect themselves. Linda was in prison and would be for years. It made James sad sometimes, and I understood, but we both knew it was the only way to keep people safe from her. I carry 2 EpiPens now in a special case. I probably always will. But I'm not afraid anymore. I'm just careful, which is exactly what I should be.